What's up, guys? My name is Orion Hendricks, and I thought that this week I would share with you guys embarrassing / traumatizing stories from my childhood. So here we go. First story that I would like to share with you guys happened when I was about, I want to say like 10 or 11. I believe I was in 5th grade. Yeah, I was in 5th grade, and I had this one teacher. We'll just call her Mrs. H, just because, you know, don't want to expose anybody, but we'll call her Mrs. H. And I had Mrs. H for, I'm pretty sure I had her for 4th and 5th grade. Now, mind you, this is one of the things that traumatized me about math, because now whenever I know I need to heal that wound, and I know I need to heal from that, but it just keeps popping up in my head every time I try to do math in front of people. Every time, it's just like my brain literally like shuts down, and like I'll be counting money easily, or I'll be counting out loud easily, and then as soon as someone looks at me, I freeze like a deer in headlights. I blame all of that on this one teacher that I had in 5th grade. So Mrs. H, I had her for 4th and 5th grade, and for whatever reason, I did nothing to her. Absolutely jack shit, nothing. And for whatever reason, she just hated me. I don't know if it was because I was black or because I was a girl, but like she was also a girl. I don't know, couldn't tell you. Mrs. H did not like me, and one day we were doing like these little like follow along group class exercises where we all had to do a problem on the paper, and we would have to raise our hand and say the answer out loud in front of the entire class. Well, I already wasn't good at math. She knew this, I knew this, and I just couldn't get the problems fast enough, and everybody was like answering questions and getting the problems fast enough, and we were going along doing the worksheet. I knew this. Everybody in the class had already answered one of the questions out loud, and then I sat in the back of the classroom at this time because she like, you know, did the seating arrangement, whatever, and she sat me in the back of the classroom. Thank goodness. Thought that maybe I'd be able to fade away, hide the back, and nobody would notice that I hadn't answered a question. And then she goes and she says out loud in front of everybody, "Orions, you are one of the only ones who still hasn't answered a question." Emphasis on the part where I said one of, meaning that I was one of the only ones that hadn't answered it, but she still felt the need to single me out. She said, "Orions, you're the only one that hasn't answered a question out loud. You need to answer one, or we're not gonna be able to move on." And then I just looked at her, and I looked back at my paper, and I said, "Okay." And then she said, "Excuse me?" And I said, "Okay," louder so she could hear me. And then time goes on, a couple minutes pass by. I'm sitting with, we have like these little pods, so it's like 2 people sat in front of each other, and then we had one person that was sitting looking at the both of us, right? Well, I was sitting in a pod with this one girl and this one boy. I still remember their names, but I'm not gonna say their names. But I was sitting in a pod with this one boy and this one girl, and then I tried to hold it back as much as I could, but I started crying right there in the middle of class, and I was just so sad. And the girl in front of me was like, "Orions, what's wrong?" And then the boy raises his hand and is like, "Miss H, Orions is crying." And then I turn, tears streaming down my face. I look at her dead in her eyes, and she's like, "Orions, meet me outside." We go outside in the hallway next to the door, and she's like, "Why are you crying?" Like, girl, what do you mean, why am I crying? What? And I look at her, once again, tears still streaming down my face, and she says, I look at her and I say, "Because you know I'm not good at math, and you just called me out, you just singled me out in front of the entire class, and now I'm really embarrassed." She's like, "All right, I'm sorry. If I give you a problem that you can solve, and you can get a problem that's really easy that you can solve and get correct, and we can move on, will you be okay?" And I was like, "I guess." And then we go back inside, she gives me a problem, and she's like, "Nobody else answered this problem. This is Orions' problem." And then I answer the problem, I get the answer right. She's like, "That's right." And then we were able to move on. Thank you, Mrs. H. You were great, and now I am forever scarred and forever traumatized by math. I mean, there's plenty of other factors that go into the reason why I don't really like math, or like not really good at it. But that's just like, that's like a big one. Like, you don't do that to a child. Like, what? This next story actually happened not when I was really young, like a couple months ago. I was on my TikTok grind, and I would like to film TikToks over by this window in our living room because it has the best lighting in the house. And you know, for TikTok, gotta get the angles, gotta get the lighting. So I filmed in front of this window for TikTok, and one day this little bastard of a fly had gotten into the house and was just flying around, and I was trying my best to ignore it, but it was getting to a point where I was like, you know what, fuck it, I can't stand this fly. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna kill this fly. And I thought it'd be a great idea to just go at it and kill it with my hand, because usually when I kill flies with my hand, nothing happens. Usually. I had my phone on the windowsill, and I was right there up by the windowsill, and then the fly landed right on the window next to my phone, and I took like this part, like the knee of my hand, and I just smacked it on the window. But when I smacked it, and then the window just like shattered in the middle, and the glass fell on the floor and on the window edge. And I was like, ah!
The woman was too stunned to speak.
Holy shit, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Holy shit, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? So my first thought was, okay, window repairman. People fix windows. So let me get them to come and repair this as soon as possible. Now, I wish they would have been able to come the day of, but I contacted them. They were like, we're gonna have to order the window, you know, special order, and then it's gonna be in a couple days, and we can come and install it as soon as possible. Is that okay with you? I was like, you know what? Yes, that's fine. I just need this window fixed. So I was like, okay, what the fuck am I gonna do? I can't have mother find out that this window is broken, because if she finds out, she's going to blow a fuse. So what am I gonna do? So how our house is set up is the window that I was filming in front of is the window that sees into our backyard. So I went out into our backyard, and we have chairs on our little like patio thing. So I moved the chair in front of the patio, in front of like where the crack was. Now mind you, this wasn't a crack that, you know, it's a double pane window. So I broke one pane, but I didn't break the other, which is phenomenal. So I just moved it so it looks broken, but it's only broken on the inside. It's not broken on the outside. So no air, none of that, no bugs were getting in. Moved the chair in front of the break, and I was like, okay, that's covering it for the most part. As long as she doesn't come out here, we're good. Now, my thing is, I had the bright idea to put it on TikTok because it was comedy, and the video did really well. So I regret nothing. My mom, she didn't even follow me on TikTok. She still didn't follow me, so I have no idea how she found out. But I don't even know if she has TikTok. But I don't know how she found out. I think one of my siblings ratted me out, which is like, really? We're all adults. Why are you ratting me out like we're fucking 12, 15? Girl, get a grip. Get a grip. And what are you doing? I think one of my siblings ratted me out, or I don't know how she found it, but basically she saw the video on TikTok, and I was good. I was golden. I was great. Until like the last day, like the day before they came and installed it, my mom, she was like, I was walking past my mom, and she was like, do you have anything you want to tell me? And I was like, no. Good morning, how are you doing? How's your day? Like, fuck, I don't know. What do you want to hear from me? She's like, what happened to the window? And then I was like, shit, fuck, shit, damn it. So we go into the backyard, she moves the chair, she sees the window, and then she just starts throwing a fit, raging up a storm. Like, she was pissed. She ended up throwing a fit, and she was like, why didn't you just tell me that the window was broken? I would have been less mad if you had told me in the first place that it was broken. Now, mind you, let me tell you something about my mom. My mom is a liar when she says that. So my mom is the type of mom that whether you tell her, whether you don't tell her, you're still up shit creek, and it's basically a damn if you do or damn if you don't situation, because she's going to get mad regardless, because my mom hates to be the last one to find out about things. So she was gonna get mad regardless. So I was like, you know what? Tell her, don't tell her. I'm still gonna be in hot ass water. So honestly, fuck it at this point. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna not tell her, get the window fixed, and I was out like $250 because I had to pay for the window and pay for the service. And then once my mom found out about it, she was like, oh, you could have done that yourself for way cheaper. I was like, girl, does it look like I know? First of all, I'm not dealing with broken glass, because, oh, I forgot to mention, when I hit the window with my hand and broke the glass, my hand was like bleeding. Like all right here was like bleeding, and I had like just like blood streaming down my hands. Luckily, it didn't scar. It actually healed really nicely. It healed, like there was absolutely no scar. Girl, first of all, I'm not dealing with glass. Second, if I have the money and I can pay someone to fix it, I'm going to. And see, I was not gonna do that. I just wanted to get the window fixed, and call it a goddamn day. So yeah, that was that. And honestly, if you ever invite me over, just keep me away from all your windows and we will have a grand time. Yeah. Now, me personally, I would consider myself a pretty lucky girl. Like, things happen to me that you probably wouldn't expect to happen, and they just happen out the blue. So I am a very lucky girl, and I like to believe that I have lucky girl syndrome. But whenever it comes to windows, she's just not happening. Took place when I was younger. So when I was younger, we lived in this apartment and we lived there for about 8 years. And since we lived there for so long, the people in the leasing office, our landlord technically, they knew us pretty well. I don't think she ever knew my name, but she knew my face, which mattered. But yeah, she knew my face, she knew my family, she knew what apartment, what unit we stayed in, whatever. As a kid, I was considered really responsible. So my mom gave me and my brother house keys or apartment keys. And my brother lost his obviously within like the first month or two. And I kept up with mine for a really, really long time. And I think I lost my key maybe like once, twice. But my thing about it is, this is where the lucky girl part comes in. I always found my key. Like if I lost my key, quote unquote, I would always find it. I didn't really lose it, I just misplaced it. You see where I'm going here? At this point in time, I had lost my key, quote unquote. Well, at this time when I lost my key, what you have to do when you live in an apartment when you lose your key is you have a key to the apartment, or you have how many ever copies of the key that the office gives you, because you tell them, hey, I have 3 people staying here, so I need 3 keys, right? So I had lost my key. My mom worked, we lived with my mom, she was a single mom, but my dad was still in the picture. And my mom, she was at work or doing whatever she did at this time. And my sister, I thought she wasn't home from school at this time. That'll matter in a moment. My sister, I thought she wasn't home. And my brother, he went to a school far away for like special children. Not even special children, he was just in like a special program. And he was in a school, so I would come home from school by myself. I would walk home, or sometimes I'd get a ride home from most of the time I would get a ride home from my neighbor, or I would walk home. Anyway, moving along, at this point I'm rambling. How you do it in an apartment is when you lose your key, or you don't have a key, or you're locked out, you have to go to the leasing office, get a key, right? Well, I went to the office, got a key. It was a short little walk from my apartment, and I went to the office. Well, sometimes the leasing lady, her name was Miss Dorothy, she was a very nice and sweet old lady, but her name was Miss Dorothy, and sometimes she wouldn't be there because maybe she was out making her rounds, she was on lunch, whatever. At this particular day, she was not there. So I was like, fuck, what am I gonna do? Walk back to the apartment, and I call my mom, and I'm like, hey, Ma, I'm locked out of the apartment. What am I gonna do? She calls my sister, and for whatever reason, my sister came home before me that day. I don't know what she did. I think she had like a half day at school or something like that. I don't know. But my sister was home, and she's like, I just called your sister, and she said she's inside, I just called your sister, and she said she's inside sleeping, just knock on the door really hard. Now, I was like, okay, fine. So I banged on the door really hard, and she didn't answer. I'm like, girl, did you not just talk to our mother on the phone? Wake your ass up. I'm like, you know what? Okay, I need to get her attention somehow. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. So mind you, we lived on the 2nd floor. So I go up to the window, right? And I take a rock. And I thought it was just like a decent sized rock. Like it was a small rock. I take this rock and I throw it at the window. I thought I barely touched it, but apparently I'm Incredible Hulk in this bitch. And then the glass shattered, and the glass fell from the window all the way onto the ground, into the bushes. And I was like, oh!
The woman was too stunned to speak.
Oh my God. And then my sister, apparently that fucking woke her up. Not a fucking 10, 11-year-old banging on the door, trying to get you to open it, but no, glass shattering from a window. Who would have thought? She comes to the window and she's like, what the hell are you doing? What? I was like, open the door. She opens the door, I come inside, and then, I get inside. My mom comes home later and is like, what the hell happened to the window? I'm like, this is on your eldest daughter. I was just trying to get in the house, and she didn't. I was trying to get in the house, and she didn't open the door. This is on her. I didn't do anything. And last but certainly not least, we have one more story from my childhood. This story takes place when I was about 11 or 12, something like that. When I was younger, I learned how to drive at a really young age because my mom, she cooks a lot. And whenever you cook, sometimes you need things in the spur of the moment and you need people to go to the grocery store. And with my sister going away to college soon, she was not gonna have like a runner to go back and forth to the store. So my mom was like, hey, you guys wanna drive? I'm gonna teach you how to drive. Well, in the course of while we were driving, I had popped a curve. My mom refused to drive with me and she refused to teach me how to drive just the rest of the time. So my dad had to come on Friday nights and teach me how to drive. And I remember we used to live across the street from this rec center and he taught me how to not parallel park, but just like park in parking spaces. And he was great. Like, I love my dad. I'm gonna tell that story more in depth later, but we're doing a different story. But while I was learning how to drive, I really wanted to learn how to drive on the highway because my brother had gotten to go on the highway and I was like, you know what? I should be able to go on the highway too because I think that I can do it. So please let me drive on the highway. So my mom said no. No, my dad said no, my mom said hell no. And my brother was just like, heh, I know how to drive on the highway and you don't. I was like, first of all, fuck you. Second of all, I didn't say that. I was very young and I didn't cuss, but now it's a different story. I look back and I think, you know what, fuck you, because I'm a better driver than you anyway, and I've gotten my fair share of tickets, but I paid them all off, and I am good to go, so screw you. But I wanted to learn how to drive on the highway really badly. And I was like, you know what, one night I was like, you know what, our mom is never home at night. I could basically sneak out when I want to. So this is when we still lived in that apartment that I broke the window in. But we had lived in this apartment and we had this little Chrysler minivan that we had called the school bus. And my mom, she just left it there with the key every night, basically free for the taking. And you know, she left the key. Well, she didn't leave the key in plain sight, but she hid the key, and I knew where she hid the key. So I was like, now mind you, I was a good girl. I was a very good girl growing up. The only thing that would get me in trouble is my mouth, either being sassy, talking back, or just talking in general. I talked a lot as a kid in class. I got always get in trouble with the teachers because I talked so much, and that's still the same for today. I don't get in trouble because I'm adult, but I do talk a lot, and well, sometimes I still do get in trouble at work because it's just like, Orion, stop talking, or Orion, just shut up and smile and do your job. It's like, all right. The most that would get me in trouble was my mouth. Like, I never did anything bad. Like, I was a straight, by the book, walk the straight and narrow type of gal, right? I decided to sneak out of the house and take the car and drive on the highway. Now, I took the car, like, now I was like, you know what? I'll just be gone for like an hour. I just want to learn how to drive on the highway. So I grabbed the key, took the car, and then I went out on the highway, and it was fucking amazing. I drove, I felt amazing, I felt empowered, and I felt great, right? Now I did this for 2 nights. Now the first night, I was good, I was in the clear, and then the second night, I took it out, I was good, I was in the clear, and my brother, I guess he was awake, and he heard me start up the car, and my brother, me and him, we didn't really get along when we were younger. We're chill now, but like, we didn't really get along when we were younger. So, you know, I guess he was awake. And then I came back and I didn't know that he was awake. So the next day, right, you know, we had came home from school. We were, we had came home from school, normal, you know, whatever. It was just normal. So we come home, our mom is at home, and then he's like, he calls her mommy. I don't call her mommy, but he's like, mommy, Orion's took the car out Orion's took the car out last night without your permission. He was like, mommy, Orion snuck out last night and took the car, and I don't know where she went. And my mom was furious because for whatever reason, my mom has always thought that I don't know, I think she's always thought that I was a whore, but I was like, Ma, I don't talk to guys. I'm not out here whoring. She's always thought that I was in here in the streets, just get it on. Ma'am, no, that's just not realistic. I can barely talk to a guy, much less get in bed with him. It's on me. And I was like, hey, yo, what the fuck? That is awful. And then it's so funny because here we go. We come back around, like we circle back around a couple years. We're in high school at this point. And my brother snuck out so many fucking times and went to go see whatever girl, what friends, went to a party, whatever the fuck. My brother did whatever the hell he wanted whenever my mom was at work. And guess what? Guess who I told? Guess who I told? Nobody. I didn't tell not a bitch ass nobody. Because I was like, you know what? If she finds out, she not finding out from me, because that's none of my business. What you do and what you get into when you leave this house, that's none of my business. At night, it's none of my business. So I said nothing. Absolutely not a bitch ass thing. I even brought up, I was like, didn't you snitch on me whenever I took the car out that one time so I could learn how to drive on the highway? And man was speechless. He had nothing to come back. He's like, I'll buy you a honey butter chicken biscuit from Whataburger. I was like, you're lucky that I'm fat on the inside and I love to eat. Make it too, bitch. And get the fuck out of my face. Anyway, that's gonna be the end of this video. If you enjoyed it, then go ahead and give it a big old thumbs up and comment down below if I should do this again. Actually, don't even have to comment, because I'm gonna do this again because it was fun and I love just recounting and retelling, like, just not even traumatizing, just like, well, kind of traumatizing, but like mostly funny stories from my childhood. So honestly, subscribe and just tune in for the next video. I don't know when I'm gonna do another one of these, probably when I come back from my trip to California, but I'm gonna do another one of these. And if you don't want to miss it, go ahead and subscribe. If you enjoyed today's episode and you got some laughs, and you know, if you didn't laugh today, hey, remember, there is always next week. But remember, you are amazing and beautiful and awesome and fantastic and spectacular. Never let anybody tell you any different. And remember to never, ever, 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 ever doubt your greatness. All right?